At first glance, this animal doesn't even look real. With its tiny smile, strange feather-like gills, and almost cartoonish face, it looks more like a creature from a video game than a real living animal. But somehow, this bizarre little creature has become one of the most popular exotic pets in the world. And once you discover what it can actually do, it becomes even stranger. Because the axolotl is not just unusual looking. It's one of the most biologically fascinating animals on Earth. An animal so strange that scientists have spent decades studying it. And honestly, the more you learn about axolotls, the less normal they seem. For example, if an axolotl loses a leg, it can grow it back. Perfectly. Not just skin. Not just tissue. An entirely new working limb. Bones, muscles, nerves, everything. And somehow, that's not even the weirdest part. Because axolotls can also regenerate parts of their heart, their spine, and even parts of their brain. Which sounds impossible. Yet this tiny aquatic animal does it naturally. Scientists around the world are still trying to understand how this creature performs abilities that humans can't even come close to doing. And strangely enough, while researchers study them in laboratories, millions of people simply keep them as pets. But owning an axolotl is very different from owning a normal fish. Because technically, it isn't a fish at all. Axolotls are actually amphibians, close relatives of salamanders. But unlike most amphibians, they never fully transform into adults. Which means they stay underwater their entire lives. And honestly, that might be one of the strangest things about them. Because biologically, axolotls are basically animals that never finish growing up. Scientists call this neoteny. Their bodies keep many juvenile features permanently, including their famous fluffy external gills. And those strange feathery gills are one of the reasons people become obsessed with them. They almost make the axolotl look unreal. Like something designed by animation artists instead of nature. Especially because axolotls often appear to smile constantly, even though they're not actually smiling at all. That's simply the shape of their face. But somehow, that tiny fake smile made the internet fall in love with them. And once videos of axolotls started spreading online, their popularity exploded. People became fascinated by the way they walk underwater, their slow movements, their tiny floating legs, and their strange expressions. Some people even describe them as water puppies. Which is adorable, but also slightly inaccurate. Because despite looking harmless and cute, axolotls are still delicate exotic animals with very specific needs. And unfortunately, many people buy them without understanding how sensitive they actually are. One of the biggest mistakes beginners make is treating axolotls like tropical fish. But axolotls don't like warm water. In fact, high temperatures can become extremely dangerous for them. These animals prefer cool water environments, usually much colder than standard aquarium temperatures. And when the water becomes too warm, stress levels rise quickly. They may stop eating, become weak, or develop serious health problems over time. Which means maintaining proper water temperature is one of the most important parts of axolotl care. Water quality matters too. A lot. Because axolotls absorb everything directly through their skin and gills. Dirty water can slowly poison them without obvious warning signs at first. That's why experienced owners constantly monitor ammonia, nitrites, and water conditions very carefully. And surprisingly, axolotls are not very active animals most of the time. They spend huge portions of the day simply resting quietly underwater, sometimes hidden inside caves or shaded corners. And honestly, watching them feels strangely calming. Their slow peaceful movement almost makes them look like creatures from another world. But feeding time changes everything. Because despite their calm appearance, axolotls are surprisingly effective hunters. They use suction feeding, which means instead of biting food normally, they suddenly vacuum prey directly into their mouths. And the first time people see it happen, it usually surprises them. Earthworms, pellets, and certain aquatic foods are common parts of their diet. But owners must be careful. Some foods can be dangerous or difficult for axolotls to digest properly. And because they swallow food whole, even gravel inside tanks can accidentally become deadly. Which is why many owners avoid small rocks completely. Another strange thing about axolotls is how fragile they really are. Even though they can regrow body parts, their skin remains extremely delicate. Handling them too much can damage the protective slime coating on their body. So unlike dogs, cats, or many reptiles, axolotls are usually pets best observed rather than touched constantly. And honestly, that makes them feel even more mysterious somehow. Because they almost seem like living aquarium spirits quietly floating through water, watching everything silently, moving slowly through plants and shadows like tiny alien creatures. But here's something sad many people don't know. In the wild, axolotls are critically endangered. Their natural habitat in Mexico has been heavily damaged over time due to pollution, urban expansion, and invasive species. Which means these animals are actually far rarer in nature than most people realize. Ironically, there are now far more axolotls living in captivity than in the wild. Which feels strange considering how famous they became online. Most people see them as internet animals, cute pets, funny creatures, without realizing they are fighting for survival in their original ecosystem. And maybe that contrast is part of what makes axolotls so fascinating. They look simple and adorable on the surface, but behind the tiny smiling face is one of the strangest animals science has ever studied. A creature capable of regeneration humans still don't fully understand. An amphibian that never truly grows up. And an animal that somehow turned into one of the internet's favorite pets. So the next time you see an axolotl floating quietly underwater, remember this. You are not just looking at a cute aquarium animal. You are looking at one of the most biologically unusual creatures on Earth. A living mystery scientists still struggle to fully explain. And honestly, that might be exactly why people can't stop watching them. Water wave sparkles.